I think the term psychedelia is too much. And people always connect it to certain things that I don't want to connect myself with that much, I guess. But the sort of cinematic visual quality of the music, which some people also call psychedelic, is something that will always be there because that's just the way that I make music, I guess. You know, I see images and visual things when I create something, and I try to create sounds that surprise me and give me images that I've never seen before. Well, I love the West Coast so far. Everything that I've seen is so much more warm and more pleasant in a way, and more beautiful than the things that I saw on the East Coast. So I also really like the East Coast, of course, but I don't know, things that I've seen so far are amazing, and people seem to really understand the music in a different way here than on the East Coast somehow. They've been really positive about it, and every time it was such a fun show. So yeah.
Yeah, you know about the West Coast mentality, right?
Yeah, I
We're
guess
more
so.
laid
Yeah,
back and-
I heard about it, but it's true. You know, it's there's such a different way of thinking here.
But the Dutch culture is pretty laid back, isn't it? Liberal.
Yeah, but it's, you know, people are too individual and too in a you know, it makes them kind of cold emotionally because they're just too much concerned of. They're very concerned of what other people think of them,
Oh,
but
okay.
still they're very busy with what they're doing. So people don't really go dancing or go crazy at a show. You know, not like here. I love that when people go crazy. That's awesome. A favorite fairy tale? Not really. There's some movies that I like, but it's not really like an old-fashioned fairy tale.
What's your favorite films?
I like the Valeria and the Week of Wonders. Kind of a standard answer probably, but that's a great movie. I heard about a fairy tale that I liked actually. Recently I've been reading about the Grimm, like the Grimm fairy tales, and there's a lot of fairy tales that nobody really knows about.
Like which one?
I don't know the titles of them, but there's a lot of fairy tales that are very strange and they don't really make that much sense, you know, and they don't really have a moral to it. It's just it just ends all of a sudden, and you're like, wow, what was this about? You know, just strange things happening. I really like those kind of fairy tales that make you think about, you know, what do they mean, or what are they? Most of the times it's so obvious what they mean, you know, but I like when it's a little bit more deep and mysterious, I guess. I don't know, I feel it very clearly when it's finished. I just keep listening to it, and I'm not bothered by anything anymore. I just hear the song and I really feel the song like breathing. You know, if the mix is good, it breathes and it's open, and in a way that I can focus on every detail with the same amount and not too much on one detail, I guess. And that happens after I keep working on it. And it might be the reason that I feel that way might be because you start listening to something so much that you don't hear the details anymore. And you feel that it's finished because you have listened to it too much. Or it could be that it's actually finished. So I'm not sure where the reason would be that I feel that it's finished, but I just feel it, and that's when it's finished. interview that I did with every journalist that made me reflect on myself every time. Well, not if they kept changing kept asking the exact same questions, but when they ask new questions and they make me think about things. I always reflect on what I'm doing, and it's kind of like a therapy session. You know, you start thinking about yourself and reflect on what you're doing, and that changes you. So in that way, in that really direct way, they have definitely changed me. But I think, well, it depends on where the journalist comes from. I think in France, I'm really amazed by the quality of journalism there, and music-wise, because they really get the music and they really know what they're talking about. And even when they make like a description of what kind of music I make, I wouldn't be able to write a description like that. I'm reading it, I'm moved by it. You know, I'm reading things that's like, oh my God, that's so much me, but not something that I could express in words. You know, so that's really amazing. But Dutch journalism is terrible. It's super superficial, and they are not able to do that for me in that way. I'm afraid. The interviews get a little, there's so many interviews that it gets a little like you just want to live in the moment instead of explaining the moment every time. You know, you just want to have some more time to just, because like if you're doing so many interviews, you're kind of almost, if you're not saying the things that are closest to what you feel, you're creating a persona that you're not actually, that you're not. So and that can make it really hard to reflect on who you really are and what you really feel if you keep explaining something that you're not, but you're not realizing it. You know, and that's kind of difficult. But I've realized that recently, so I didn't even realize that before. But realizing it is probably helping a lot in staying more true to myself in a way, also towards the media. So I think there's never enough attention. Or the interviewers that ask the same questions every time, and you're like, oh, I have to tell the same story again, and that gets annoying. And if there's more of that, then I probably wouldn't really take it anymore because it's too much, you know. But I really enjoy these kinds of interviews, and interviews that are really onto something, or really about something that means something, you know, and not about the persona that I created, even in the past, and I have to repeat again, you know. Let me think. There's been lots of misconceptions, especially in the Dutch media.
In your home country.
Yeah, that's stupid, but yeah, it happens.
What do they say about you?
Well, it's not really the things that they say, it's the way they make me sound, mostly, you know. They make me sound like someone who's super self-confident. I am self-confident, but I'm not. You know, they make it sound arrogant, or they make it sound negative in a way. You know, they make a lot of things that I try to be positive about. They make it sound negative.
Is that just a cultural thing?
I don't know. Maybe it could be, but I don't like it when that happens, and they make me sound like a person that when I read it, I'm like, that's not who I am, you know, and that's not who I'd like to be, and you know, and then when I read an interview from a better place, you know, better journalist, then I read it and I'm like, yeah, that's me, that's perfect, you know. But sometimes it's just it's like they're describing someone who I'm not, you know. But it's not really a big misconception or anything. That doesn't happen a lot. And journalists they mostly try to remove as much words as they can to make it as compact and direct as possible. And that's not the way. You know, then you also remove the subtleness and even the nuances, you know, in the things that people say. And they make me sound like I'm Jacco Gardner. I make psychedelic music, like statement after statement after statement. And that's not who I am. You know, I'm not like that. I never say anything. I always, even during an interview, I think about things, and I'm kind of sharing my thoughts, but my thoughts are not facts. You know, and a lot of newspapers and magazines and blogs put it there as facts, while it's just thoughts. You know, thoughts and facts are completely different. So, but it's something that I should get used to, because it's, you know, I can't help that, and there's just journalism like that, and you know, there's even trainings for that, how to be as superficial as possible as an artist to a journalist. So you're sure that it's gonna be there, they're gonna say the right things. You know, don't be yourself, be superficial, and say the things that you want them to write about. You know, mostly. And I mostly prefer just being myself and just sharing my thoughts, even though I'm just still thinking about it and I'm not even sure about it. You know, so I don't know.
So you said there's a class or video.
There are trainings for that. No, yeah, it's called like press training, or there are courses for that for people. You can that's a common thing, I think. And I know lots of people that have done that, even like to be able to handle bad journalism.
Maybe like the bigger artists. I don't know. I've never heard of that. But
You never heard of that?
It makes sense, you know.
It makes sense, yeah. You need it as an artist. You need it to be able. I never did it, and I'm not gonna do it. But,
yeah. If you're a real artist, I don't think you should.
No, yeah, but yeah, a lot of people have that sort of training to be able to cope with that.
And that's no problem with this journalism. I mean, they focus more on the drama rather than.
Yeah,
in the
they want to make it
actual art.
sound sensational, so they're gonna pick out things that you don't want to talk about, but they're gonna put it there, you know. And because there's so many journalists that write that way about music, I'm really happy when I did an interview and I'm reading it, and I'm like, wow, he really got the point of what I was trying to explain, and even explained it, made me sound like I explained it even more than I did, you know. And I'm like, wow, yeah, that's what I mean, you know, and that makes me so happy. So I'm really glad that that's out there as well. Not really. I'd like to make a film once, maybe. Or well, I want to have a label, but that's very music world-ish as well. Not really anything that's completely different from. Well, I'd like to see more of the world. I want to go to Japan. I want to go to Australia, and I want to go to Asia, India, like everywhere, I guess. I'd love to see more of the world, like anyone. It's quite a standard answer, I guess, but I'd like that. And you're seeing so many things that you'd like to spend time. You like driving by. We drove like by the sea. We see all these surfers, all from the car, and we had to keep driving because of the time. You know, we were like, oh, can't we just stop for a moment and get out of the car and like enjoy the wind and the temperature and the people surfing and like take in the scenery in a good way. But there's just no time. Well, I want to take a different path, but the basic elements will probably be the same, you know, because that's just who I am. It's my personality. I won't be a different person completely on the second album, you know. So some elements will be quite the same, but I'm sure that a lot of elements will be quite different as well. Because also the first album, all the songs on there are based on experience that I had. Over like 8 years, and most of the songs are quite old. And the person that I was back then is not the person that I am now. So when I make music now, it will sound different anyway, for sure.
Yeah, you wrote those when you were 17 or something.
Yeah, it was like almost 10 years ago. You know, it's a long time ago.
Yeah, especially during those times, you change a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a time in my life when you know, if it was like 27 and 37, it wouldn't have changed as much as 17 or 27, you know. That would be, well, I'm 25 now, but still, you know, that time in your life when you're growing up and creating an identity. You're just searching for things, trying out things that I wouldn't try right now anymore because I know what I want. You know, so yeah. It would probably be a recent song because I want people to know what I'm about now. You know. Yeah, no, I think I would play a new song called Notice. It's an instrumental song, but it's very close to the direction that I want to go to, also with the new album, and it also reflects on. It still has a lot of elements of the first album, so it kind of. I think it would say enough. Well, you wouldn't hear the vocals though, so that would be a problem. But instrumental-wise and in the atmosphere of the song, that would capture everything. And I don't even know how to play it yet, but I'd like to play it to someone to because it's more recent and more about who I am at this moment. And it still says a lot about what I did before, you know. And so they probably get the idea if I play that song. There's so many things. In general, it's just experiencing the spirit of this side of the world, you know, to experience so many, to meet so many new people and have so many new experiences, and I don't know. That's the most important thing for me, you know, be able to change myself by experiencing new things, and you know, it makes you feel alive. I guess that's the most important thing to me.